Greetings and salutations, and thank you for clicking on the video. Today I'm going to talk about why it is that I don't do Windows. Well, I'm going to talk about one of the main reasons I don't do Windows. If I was to post a video where I tried to explain all of the things that I don't like about the Windows operating system in comparison to Linux, then this video would be about 2 hours long, because it would take that long for me to go through all of it. Today I want to focus on one thing. I want to focus on your privacy using Windows and the fact that Microsoft reserves the right to execute code on your machine. In a sense, they become like a hypervisor or a hyper user on your Windows installation. Even if you think you're being very secure and you've installed all the antivirus and anti-malware software, whatever it is that you have, Microsoft can still get in, and they can do it legally. And I'm going to show you how here in just a few moments. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to warn you. If you feel it necessary at this point to start typing down in the comments section, and you put anything in the comments section that is disrespectful, contains profanity, is several paragraphs long, or includes hyperlinks, it probably will not stay here for very long, because I am not going to put up with that on the comments in any of my videos. Alright, so do think before you type, and make sure that if you want to disagree with me, that you're doing it respectfully. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate that. First of all, we're looking at Techworm, which is a website that has some, it's like a web blog that has some interesting security related things on it. And this is an article that was posted quite a while back, actually, about when Windows 10 was about to come out. Microsoft issued an update, and they issued it to every Windows user. If you were a licensed Windows user accepting updates in any way, shape, or form, you received this update. And what it did was, it put a nag down in the taskbar that prompted you to upgrade to Windows 10. Now, I will admit that some of the language in this particular article is inflammatory and a little bit over the top. However, I do agree with the writer in that he says that this was an invasion of your privacy, and it's something that Microsoft does all the time. The thing about it is that Microsoft can do this legally. So it says here, and it is highlighted, if Windows 7 customers blocked them, they still show up on their computers. In other words, if you had all the updates turned off, or you had the system set to notify you about updates, you still got this update regardless. And then it goes through and it explains this. So this is just an example of the many excellent articles that are out there that go through this. You don't have to take my word on this stuff, folks. I always encourage you to go read. Now, it is true that some of the stuff that's been posted is hyped. It's basically clickbait. And you know, you're just going to have to figure that out for yourself. But there's a lot of good, solid information out there from reputable folks. So I'm not citing this article as a source. I'm only showing it as an example. Okay? Let's look at what is really important here. This is your Microsoft license terms for the Windows operating system. When you buy a Windows computer and you activate Windows in your name, you must agree to these terms. This is the EULA that you click on. And if you go out and you buy Microsoft Windows to install on your system, you have to agree to this EULA, and you have to activate the system in order to get what they call genuine Microsoft products, or whatever the deal is. Okay, now at this point, somebody out there is going, I don't have to deal with this because I just crack Windows. And to you, I say, are you out of your mind? The last thing that I would ever want to put on my computer is a cracked operating system. The person who cracked the operating system has probably installed even worse backdoors than Microsoft leaves in the system themselves. Are you crazy? If you're going to run Windows, pay for it. Don't be a crook. It's their terms, and if you really want to run Windows and you agree to all this garbage, please pay for it. Don't get cracked Windows on your system or cracked software of any kind simply because of the fact that you don't know a whole lot about who cracked it and you don't know what they've added to it. Okay? So anyway, this is actually not that long of a document. However, this document refers to many other documents. And somebody went through this one time and said that if you actually went and looked at all of the documents that are referred to in the Microsoft Windows EULA, it comes up to be something like 43 pages worth of text, okay? So I just want to focus on a couple of things here that back up claims that I've made in past videos, okay? First of all, in bold, right here, just a paragraph or two down, it says, by accepting this agreement, or using this software, you agree to all of these terms and consent to the transmission of certain information during activation and during your use of this software as per the privacy statement described in Section 3. If you do not accept and comply with these terms, you may not use the software. So basically what this is legalese. It's Microsoft saying to you, hey, you take it or leave it. We're going to get what we want, and if you don't like it, there's not much you can do about it. And then they back it up and make it even more legal. There are some other things as we go down here that I want to talk about. Okay, this is another thing that we need to look at here. This is the installation and use rights. It says this software is licensed. It's not sold. Under this agreement, we grant you the right to install and run one instance on your device. In other words, if you have 5 computers and you want to put Windows on it, then you're going to have to pay for a copy of Windows for each one. And you don't own this software. You're leasing it. That $299 that you pay to go out and get yourself a copy of Windows 10 is a lease agreement. You don't own it. You have no rights to this software whatsoever. And Microsoft reserves the right to do with this software as they please. All right? Let's just skip through all of this stuff. And we're going to go down here to Section 3. Because then they explain that in greater detail. And this is actually really kind of important. Okay? And this is where they get you. This is where Microsoft says, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, we can do anything with your computer that we want to as long as you're running this software and it's hooked up to our servers. First of all, it starts out with a lie. Your privacy is important to us. First of all, your privacy means absolutely, positively nothing to Microsoft. The more problems you have with your machine and the more you call them for support and pay for their tech support, the better they like it. So you just put that right out front. Also, Microsoft wants to sell your data. They want to collect it, they want to sell it, and they want to make money off of it. All of these multi-billion-dollar corporations do. All right? So just, that's a lie straight off the bat. Some of the software features send or receive information when using those features. Many of these features can be switched off if the user wants to. Okay, you can be switched off in the user interface, or you can choose not to use them. Okay, the operative word in that sentence is the first word. It says many. It doesn't say all. It says many, which means that no matter how slick you think you are, and how you hack the registry or turn off everything in the system, Microsoft still maintains backdoors. They can get into your system, they can read your data, they know what's going on, they can install software. This is how that Windows 7 nag ended up on everybody's Microsoft machine. Everybody's got it. Because they want you to go to Windows 7. They want or rather Windows 10. They want everybody on the same platform. All right? That's what they want, because there are more backdoors in 10 than there were in 7 as you retroactively go back. Once again, do not take my word for it. There's a lot of good information on the internet that explains this, okay? Let's go down here and look at the updates. It's in here somewhere because I was just reading this before I started this. Okay, here we go, updates. The software periodically checks for system and app updates and downloads and installs them for you. You may obtain updates only from Microsoft or authorized sources, and Microsoft may need to update your system to provide you with those updates. Okay, there's a loophole right there. In other words, Microsoft may say you have to install this before you can get that. And so you may look on the list and you may see that it is an update, it says security update or whatever, but yet there's something that has to go in with that and you don't know what's in that. In other words, so they can order these any way they like, and if you don't take update 1, you don't get update 2. And as we've already seen, you can't really turn this off. So if they decide to add something to your system that is taking data, or it's going to break your system in some way, or it's going to make it incompatible with your hardware, tough noogies. You have agreed to all of that, all right? So it's all in here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to go through this and nitpick it, but those are the basic features. And like I said, this is just the main EULA. This is the one that you click on and you sign when you open up your Windows for the first time. And it refers to a bunch of other documents which has more loopholes and more backdoors. Hence, Microsoft reserves the right to become not a super user, but a hyper user. You may be the only administrator on the machine, but Microsoft now has the right to install and change and execute code on your machine, and you gave that to them. The people who want to get malicious software on your computer, whether it be a virus or whether it be adware or whatever it is, they use these same backdoors to get that stuff into your system. And because they sit open all the time and Microsoft will not close those doors, then there's always a way for them to get in. Now with Windows machines, most of the time when they get infected, it's not because you didn't give them permission to do it. Actually, you did give them permission, you just didn't know you did it. So they'll make it so, you know, they'll disguise it as another download, they'll trick you into it. But the truth of the matter is that if anybody wants to really get into your machine, there's backdoors, there they are, they're wide open. That includes any government agency or any person that might want to come after you, okay? So it's in the EULA. It's right here. It's in black and white. This is a legal document from Microsoft. I'm not making this stuff up. I just went to the web page and clicked on it. There it is, okay? Now, let me address another issue before I close this video out. And that is, some people are now saying, well, Ubuntu is not secure and you shouldn't use it. So let's take a look at something in Ubuntu that we need to talk about here, because this is usually what they're talking about. When you first install Ubuntu and you have it running on your system, okay, when you do a search in what is called the dash, all right, it is set up to go out and it will offer web search results. Okay. If you install Ubuntu and then as soon as you install, before you open the dash for any reason whatsoever, if you come in here and if you go to search and you turn that off, and there are some other things in here as well that you can go in and turn off if you want to, that are you know, privacy, security type things, then it doesn't work anymore. It's gone. It doesn't exist. And this has been proven because people have put network sniffers on their machines. Once it's off, you can actually watch the data that's going back and forth, and it goes away. So that is not as big of an issue as people want to make it is. But I did want to show you something. Just before we get started on that, let you know, yes, you can turn it off. Ubuntu, the Canonical Corporation, includes a legal notice. We're going to zoom in and take a look at that legal notice right now. And you can check this out for yourself. This is available online. And it says, by searching in the dash, you consent to the collection and use of your search terms and IP address. They also say they may store your IP address. So in other words, somewhere on some server, whether it be Canonical's or a third-party person, what they're saying here is that your IP address and your search terms are stored. This is not a good thing. This is why I tell everybody, turn this off. Get rid of it. Because I understand exactly why Canonical did this. They did this to generate a revenue stream, and okay, there you go. However, I don't think Canonical really, in what is supposed to be a free and open operating system, should be keeping my IP address unless I give them permission to do so. Unfortunately, they do make it so you can disable this. However, this is not offered during the install. This should be offered during the install process, that you should be able to turn this off. Okay? That is Ubuntu. And the other elephant in the room that we need to talk about is Google before we wrap up this video, because there are those that use the justification that say, well, I mean, if you do a Google search, it gets your IP address, it knows what you search, and then it offers you ads and all this other stuff. This is absolutely true. Any Google service that you use, you are basically unzipping your fly for Google and giving them the information. However, Google services, unless you install their software on your machine, do not snoop in your personal files. It's just what you put on the internet. If Google was ever caught actually snooping into your system and knowing what you were doing on your computer, it would be, you'd see the biggest stink that ever was. They don't do that. It's what you search on the web, it's what you upload to Google, it's the files that you put in your Google Drive. Okay, and most people are pretty smart and go, well, I'm not going to put anything too sensitive up there. At least if you have any sense, you're not going to upload something in the cloud that's really sensitive. So yes, I mean, unless you want to just hide under a rock somewhere and run your computer off a generator and whatever, you can't totally avoid this. However, I happen to think, and many other people happen to think, especially those of us in the Linux community, that what you have on your local machine, nobody should have access to unless you give it to them. It's that simple. All right? Now, Ubuntu here is just doing search results. I don't like the fact that they log your IP address, because, you know, an IP address through your ISP, they can find out who you are. They can come, they know who you are. They can go to the ISP and they can, if somebody really, really wanted to, okay? Of course, there's safety in numbers. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in danger because you're using this stuff. But if for some reason you become interesting to somebody with the know-how, whether that be a government agency or a criminal agency or, you know, a criminal entity of some sort, that's when it starts getting to, people can get to you. All right. So yeah, there are some people who are completely paranoid about being on the internet. And, oh my God, they're going to take all my personal information and use it against me. But I'm not like that. I mean, I tend to be a pragmatist. But as far as Microsoft is concerned, looking at that EULA agreement, that's in the EULA agreement. That's what I'm showing you. I'm not showing you something that somebody wrote. I'm showing you exactly what they say themselves. And this is why, one of the main reasons that I do not advocate, use, or run the Windows operating system. The last client that I took with a Windows machine, they handed me a very well taken care of, nice computer that was loaded with antivirus. It had anti-malware software on it. It wasn't cluttered, and it was very well done. However, the machine was completely trashed. And unfortunately, this person had bought this machine and did not get installation media as Windows is sold today. Windows, they don't send you a disk anymore when you buy an OEM computer. And here's the trick. If you trash your system and you don't have a backup, you cannot go on to Microsoft and download a new copy. Nor can you do it from whoever you bought it from, at least as far as I know. I know I couldn't do it from Dell. So I was totally screwed with this computer, and also with a computer of mine that went through the same sort of thing. It crashed, there was no viable backup, and so therefore there we were. Okay? So the point of that is that with this particular machine, I spent all day going through and manually clearing out all of the viruses that this machine had gotten with one click. It took me 4 or 5 hours of work, okay, to do this. And the virus people had used every backdoor and every trick they knew to make it so that this would not go away. They even changed the link for Internet Explorer and Google Chrome on the machine to add the home page for where they wanted you to go, the malware page or whatever it was. So even though I had removed all the software, every time you clicked on it, it would still go to that page. It took me an hour to figure that out. I was like, well, let me go look at this link. So I ended up looking at it, and sure enough, the code was in the link to open the browser and then go straight to that page, and that's where they had hidden it. So that's how quickly and how easily a Windows system can be trashed. That was the last Windows computer I ever worked on, because I actually felt bad giving it back to the guy. I was like, man, I did manage to get it fixed, but I actually felt like if this happens again, I felt bad because the machine was updated, well maintained, but yet still got this because some person sat down and said, hey man, can I use your computer? And clicked on one thing. That's where it came from. In the about 5 years that I have run Linux continuously, I have yet to ever see one of my machines get hacked or attacked online in any way. Never has happened. And it also has not happened to any of the many Easy Linux clients that I work with now. I have never had one person come back to me and say, my machine got hacked, it got compromised. So this is the reason why I don't do Windows, and this is the reason why I recommend Linux. Thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. We will talk again soon. Be sure to check out Easy Linux on the web. Check out Easy Linux on Facebook and give it a like if you'd like. And also be sure and check out freedompenguin.com for lots of great articles about Linux from myself and other contributors. Thanks again. We'll talk again soon.